Hi folks, it's Dave Swanson. It's July 12th, 2025. I wanted to make a short video about this national park in Brazil that I found, and it's named Lencois Maranhenses National Park, and it's on the North Atlantic coast of Brazil, and it's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to its exceptional beauty, and then it's a natural phenomenon unique in the world. The park is basically known for this landscape of tall white sand dunes and seasonal rainwater lagoons. I came across this while I was doing some research for oriented lakes that maybe I'll put something together. So these lakes are temporary, they're not permanent features, they're formed basically between January and June when it's the rainy season. And they sit between these sand dunes because it's kind of a low spot and there's impermeable rock underneath, so very little drains out over time, or it drains very slowly. So not only is the water on a seasonal basis, but what happens when they dry out is these rows of sand dunes migrate with the wind, so that the next time they fill up, the lakes appear to have migrated to actually further away from the coast. I'll show you. So to read the Wikipedia definition, they say the location and the shape of the lakes are not static. Shoreline shift as the lakes appear to migrate over time. This is primarily due to two key factors: sand dune movement. The dunes are constantly being reshaped by wind. This movement alters the topography, affecting the depression where the water accumulates, and then also rainfall patterns. The amount and distribution of rainfall varies from year to year. A year with a particularly heavy rainfall might lead to the formation of larger or more numerous lakes in a slightly different location compared to a drier year. So here's where the park is located relative to South America and Brazil, and even at a distance you can see this white area. And it's kind of interesting to look at this a little bit closer. There's kind of the areas that I'm going to look at today are this area and this area, and with the Google Time-Lapse feature, it's very interesting, and this is actually the main reason I'm doing this. As you can see, these dunes just migrate, and beach erode and beach get deposited, and it's just really kind of a cool thing to be able to do. And I'll make this pretty short so you can hop on your computer and do it yourself, but let's see what we got here. So I just started the Google Time-Lapse feature. If you notice up here, you probably know about it. It's 1984. It's going to scroll through to 2022, I think, is the last picture. So let's look at this area down here. Just kind of see what happens when we do this time-lapse feature. So I'll have it on 2, so it'll be 2 times the speed. You can see it appears these dunes are rolling forward, and that sand is coming off of the beach and feeding them. They look like worms, but you can definitely see the front that they are migrating over new land. So there's some type of process going on where the sand is being created, blown in, swept in, however it is, and then it's getting airborne and spreading. So I think that's a pretty interesting view. I wish it was a little bit clearer, but in 20 years they'll have all nice photographs. The older ones aren't that great. So let's go to another area in the main dune area here. So let's kind of zoom in right here and just watch this time lapse. Clearly see the time lapse of the dunes moving from 1984 to 2022. Unfortunately, the pictures aren't very good. So, it is what it is in that respect. if we, what's interesting, so, and then let's look over here, somewhere over here, like right here, and let's kind of watch the behavior in this area. Oops, I have it on half speed, so it's kind of tough to see. Look down here, you can see it appears these sand dunes march. So I took the liberty of drawing some coastlines because what I noticed was, let's stop this here. Let's zoom into like here, and I'll show you what I've done. I've drawn in two lines. One line represents the 1984 coastline, which is the red line, and the 2022 is the yellow line. So let's take a look at this. You can see the sand moving away, migrating away. You actually see a pretty clean line. So it's interesting to watch that, and it's interesting to get a scale on that. So I did some measurements and kind of took rough numbers. So it looks like in the time that this little video was running there, time-wise, we had 819, 531, 585. So between 500 and 800 feet erosion, decline, and shoreline. But then if we do the same type of thing over here, let's zoom in over here. And so these are already marked. And then I'll show you the measurements. So let's put the map into motion, Jim. So you can see how they appear to march. And definitely the front of the sand dunes has moved southwest by some distance. Let it go one more time. Then if we do the measurements, which are the orange lines, that's about 1,000 feet, 668, and about 1,200 feet. I double lined it. So it looks like, we're between 500 and 800 feet of shoreline erosion, and in this particular case, in this one spot on the dune, we had between 6 and 1,200 feet of forward progression. It's also kind of interesting to track some of these areas. So I did some marks here. So right now this is 2013 image, and I more or less defined the edges of this lake. Obviously, if it had more or less liquid in it, water in it, it may look different. So this is the 2013 image. If I scroll to the 2016 image, you can see that they've moved a little bit, and I've actually marked those. We have a little cutoff down here. Perhaps the water level needs to be a little higher for that to show. And then if we actually go to the 2020 image, it's a little bit different, but I also punched that in. So really, if we get rid of the 2016, these are the kind of movement that we see in this one water body, with the yellow line being the 2013 footprint and the blue being the 2020 footprint. Then we get something like this, where this lake basically has migrated southwest by between 376 and 460 feet of the dune. So in those areas, those are the measurements roughly of the ongoing front. Also over here, this is kind of interesting. We'll do this real quick. Let's reset this. Here, we'll look here a little bit down the beach from what we looked at before. You can see this area, we have this little jetty, I guess. Perhaps this is a little underwater sandbar. You can see some sandbars coming up and out. And I drew in more or less the coastline in that section, and this would be in 1984. So let's run this through. So what we have in 2022 is this whole area that really wasn't there before. It's still probably a little bit sandbarish, and you could see it has rechanneled this drainage here. You can see more buildup of sediment, but it's definitely a different shape. And so we're really more or less getting deposition there. And then when you really look at these dunes that we have through here, it's pretty interesting. Here, I'm going to run it. Watch in here. You can really kind of see the fine lines just really migrate. And then once again, you can see this up top that's just deposits that shoreline. And then one other interesting thing that you can look at with this is in this area, with it migrating, you can see that these dunes aren't continuous all the way back to the beach. It's like the sand is being blown across and then it finally hits the obstacles, but it definitely seems to stop progressing when it hits this water. So I think there's probably a lot of material that's being washed here and down that ultimately contributes to the buildup and different formations that are happening here. So I think that's kind of a pretty interesting thing you can do with this Google Earth. So what is the purpose of this video? Well, really just to kind of show you this cool area, which is really fun to go into Google Earth and look at the more modern photography, which this is like the newest one they have. And it's really just pretty cool. And I just really wanted to be able to show how we can look at some of these natural processes happening with Google Earth. And that's really about it. I hope you guys found this interesting. I hope you guys will take the time to go check this out if you're interested. It would be interesting to see what you yourself could discover across the globe doing this kind of method. Thank you again for your time. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Once again, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.